The MCU is back on top at the box office, but how much can we really glean from that one statistic, that one number? Well, guys, we have two articles to talk about today, one from Variety, one from Hollywood Reporter, to try to get a little bit of context around what it means for the MCU to be back on top globally at the box office. We get the following. Thunderbolts flies to $162 million globally. Sinners nears $250 million milestone. From Variety by Rebecca Rubin. The article starts as such. Thunderbolts touched down at the global box office with a $162 million, including including $86.1 million from 52 international markets. Those ticket sales are behind the previous Marvel adventure, February's Captain America Brave New World, with $192 million, meaning $30 million less than Brave New World. Now, there are extenuating circumstances as to what might be learned from this number because Brave New World did not have good Hollywood scores, good audience scores, whereas Thunderbolts seems to be doing better. Tough reviews and audience scores for Thunderbolts should help, though reviews and audience scores for Thunderbolts should help in terms of staying power. Brave New World, on the other hand, hobbled by terrible word of mouth, quickly collapsed at the box office. So this is to say that Thunderbolts should have longer legs than Captain America Brave New World. How much will the second weekend drop off be? It's going to be interesting to see if that $30 million can be made up and how fast. Big screen endurance is important because Disney spent $180 million to make another $100 million to market and another $100 million to market Thunderbolts. These are likely low figures. $180 million is what Marvel was spending on movies in Phase 2. At this point, with all this inflation, all these stars, I do not see any way that they spent only $180 million actually making the movie. Thunderbolts, which centers on a ragtag group of antiheroes, includes Sebastian Stan's Bucky Barnes, Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova, Wyatt Russell's John Walker, and David Harbour's Red Guardian. Thunderbolts also topped domestic box office charts with $76 million outside of the US and Canada. Top territories were China with $10.4 million and United Kingdom with 7.7, Mexico with 7.3, and Brazil with 4 million. So that is what we have from Variety. A little bit of international context and the idea of Thunderbolts having a $30 million chasm between itself and Brave New World in order to make up. In an article titled Box Office Thunderbolts Storming to $73 to $77 million opening, Alec Baldwin's Rust flops in cinema. I wanted to get this article as well because we didn't get from the other article the actual number for the Thunderbolts opening weekend domestic. Also, Alec Baldwin's Rust flops in cinemas. That's always a nice sentence to hear. Marvel's star-studded ensemble pick, led by Florence Pugh and Sebastian Stan, is winning over critics and audiences alike as it kicks off the summer box office season. From Hollywood Reporter by Pamela McClintock. The Marvel's Thunderbolts is storming to a promising domestic opening in the $73 to $77 million range after topping Friday's charts with $31.5 million, including $11.5 million in Thursday previews. The star-studded movie, led by Florence Pugh and Sebastian Stan, is kicking off the summer box office in what's become a tradition for Kevin Feige's studio with only a few exceptions. The pick is winning over critics and audiences alike. Thunderbolts boasts a glowing 95% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, making it the third highest score for a title in the MCU universe, with a tie with Spider-Man Far From Home and behind Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, 98%. What is going on here? No one really knows. And Spider-Man No Way Home, 97%. It's still early, of course, and scores can change by 1 or 2 points as the weekend wears on. And on post-track exit polls, audiences are giving it a rave 4.5 out of 5 stars, while it receives an A- on CinemaScore. Personally, I have no desire to see this movie. I am keeping up with the MCU sort of as a look into the culture war, sort of as a business venture. I am a Disney investor. I refuse to sell the here's what will maybe get me out of the business. Who gets named CEO when Bob Iger decides to step down? If I do not agree with that pick, that is what it will take for me to sell. But I think I am like many people when I say I am waiting on a full reboot to reinvest in this thing. I don't know what is even going on in the MCU at this point. I have not seen an MCU movie since Black Widow. I have not seen an MCU show since, what was it, the WandaVision show, which started off strong but precipitously did nothing, which that kind of got me out of the MCU Disney Plus thing. So I stopped watching all of that. But the idea here that Thunderbolts is doing well with a $76 million opening, guys, I got to say it's laughable. There was a while where if a Marvel movie wasn't opening less than $100 million in an opening weekend, and this was pre-inflation prices. So the MCU right now is on life support. Maybe it took number one at the box office. $76 million in an opening weekend in the United States is nothing to sneeze at. This movie is not going to make its money back. There's no way this movie makes its money back. And when you think back to, for example, Guardians of the Galaxy, which really should have been a template for this. Now, was it or not? I can't tell. It does not appear that it was from the previews, from the trailers. But Guardians of the Galaxy should have been a template for this movie because it was a ragtag bunch. It was a no-name group, and it was something that became absolutely dearly beloved by fans. And I think that is a trilogy that stood the test of time. Was the third Guardians of the Galaxy after Black Widow? Maybe the third Guardians of the Galaxy is the last MCU movie that I've saw, just because I really like the character of Rocket. But this idea that they are doing well right now is just a myth. $76 million in an opening weekend is kerfuffle compared to what it is that these movies should be doing. And looking into the future, I don't see any reason to believe that the Fantastic Four will do any better than this. I don't see any reason to believe that the Fantastic Four is going to make its money back. I don't see any reason to believe the Fantastic Four is a franchise that, for some reason, comic book faithfuls still believe is popular. I was a comic book kid. I was a Saturday morning cartoon kid. I could never stand the Fantastic Four. I could never stand them. So I don't think I am unusual in that. I think that the Fantastic Four is largely less popular than they are made out to be. So I see disaster on the horizon for that film, especially when you take in the fact, look, the only thing that's keeping people going to these movies is that they're invested in the franchise. None of them look good. None of them look good. The previews are terrible for these movies. The trailers are awful for these movies. But people are invested in the nearly 20 years that they have invested in the MCU back to the summer of 2008, and that keeps butts in seats. The fact that the Fantastic Four movie is only loosely related to the actual MCU, I think will spell even greater amounts of doom for it, no pun intended. That is all I have for this video. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with others. And if you find yourself here by chance but not design, this is one of the types of things that I talk about on this channel. So consider hitting the subscribe button and sticking around for more. And as always, I hope to have you back for the next one.